right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the June 27th, 2024 public hearing of the Charter Revision Commission. I'm First Selectman Colin Mullen to call this meeting to order. If everyone would please stand and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I will open the public hearing. I think there's only one person on Zoom, so Melissa, if you have anything to say, just raise your hand and we'll ask you to unmute that. Is there anybody in the room?
Am I the only one in the room?
Oh, yeah, Tom. We've got a
Sorry.
mic for you, so you can hear us.
Oh, okay. Normally I have a podium. We'll do this. All right. So,
Yeah.
Dave Gauthier, 3219 Phelps Road. I commented before in public that I was in support of hiring a first selectman, which was on the table at the time. I've since changed my mind on that. Not hiring a first selectman, going to a town manager. So I've changed my mind on that because of events that have occurred over the last year. My main concern is for these three positions, I've heard no one say what will happen to them. My understanding is they will be out of job if we go to hire instead of electing. I'm not in favor of that. I've known at least one of them for 44 years or 45 years since I've been in town. I've heard no problem statement given of why we should do this today. And why now? Why with this short timeline would we do this? The only thing I've heard is succession, or two things, succession and accountability. Succession. The town charter is extremely clear on the succession of an elected position. And we successfully did that last year. We had a town treasurer asked to resign. They resigned, and the town treasurer was filled according to the charter with no issues that I know of. We have another 130 some odd employees in the town who are subject to succession. They retire, they get fired, they quit. We fill the position. What is the issue? There's been no issue given on succession. The other reason was accountability. I sort of agree with the first selectman on accountability, but for a different reason. Today, these elected positions are accountable to us. We elect them. They are accountable to us. We get to vote for them. We get to pick them. We get to talk to them. If we don't like what they're doing, we get to vote for someone else next time. First selectman wants them accountable to him. That's a power shift from the people to the government. Something that at least one political party does not believe in. I believe in small government. I've always believed that. This is a power shift. The only way I would ever put these people, I would never put them out of work, personally. I will never vote to put them out of a job. The only way I would say okay to this is if the wording were such that if they voluntarily left the position at that time, it could go to a higher position. I would not put them out of a job. That's not what I would do. My other concerns is that over the last year, the Board of Selectmen has resorted to filling positions based on political affiliation. If you're part of a political party, you are not allowed to get a position unless it's required by the charter. I don't know who they're gonna hire. I don't know if anyone will even put in for the job. We've got a number of jobs that can't be filled today. The next point is the wording of the tasking. This wording was leading. It's leading this committee or commission to an end result. The wording was about changing it from elected to hiring. No one said in the wording, what is the best way to fill these jobs? The wording was preemptive. It was leading you to a conclusion. The wording was poor. And the Board of Selectmen has already said publicly what they want to do. They came forward and said, we want to hire these jobs. They've already said that. The only reason they can't put it on in November on the ballot is because they have to have a commission first. Now they've got the commission. They can put it on the ballot right away now. All they needed was to convene a commission. They did that, and now they can go right to the ballot. So consequently, no matter what your decision, they've already said what they want to do. Unless you come up with a compelling reason to not do it, they're already going to do it. So, since that's the case, I would suggest, if it were me, that next week you come forward with your decision and then decide to work on what's really important. They gave you 2 months to do this. Why not a year ago? We had all this time. 2 months. Because you could only work on one thing for 2 months. Give them their decision next week, move on to the next important things, which are, in my opinion, there's a backlog. Work on the backlog. I'm not even sure if this is on the backlog, but work on the backlog. And I'll give you 2 more things I think you ought to work on. One is the position of town council. In my opinion, town council should be elected because he's in a precarious position. I respect this gentleman and his family to no end. He's always done the right thing, always. But he's in a precarious position because he's appointed by the Board of Selectmen. If something comes up about the Board of Selectmen, he's in a bad position because you hired him. I've asked questions. I can't go to him without going to the first selectman and asking for money. Can't do it. So everything is funneled through the Board of Selectmen. Town council should be elected. He should be independent, just like the Justice Department, to be able to investigate any issue that comes forward. I would vote for him in a minute. The next thing that I think you need to look into is the definition of what a committee is. I chair a committee in town. When I first became chair, I went and looked up the rules. There are no rules. We have boards and commissions. There are no rules for committees. Do I have to follow the FOI? I don't know. We do. There's no rules. All we need is a very simple change to add committees to the boards, to the charter. And now there's task force. What can a task force do? They have to follow any rules? No rules? Some rules? What do they have to follow? I think we need to define those in the charter. Very simple to do. Those are my recommendations. And thank you. One last thing I have to say is, I want to thank all of you. I really appreciate every single one of you because today in this country, people who do not step up to do what you do. And volunteers is a very important thing. And sitting there where you are, you're gonna hear good things and bad things. I hear good things and bad things on my committee. But you're gonna make a decision based on what you believe in. And that's what I want you to do. And I wanna thank you for doing that.
Can I ask a clarifying question? Is that permitted?
It's a hearing, yes.
Is that okay? Yeah. When you talked about the backlog and working on the backlog, what were you, I'm not sure I understand what you were referring to.
The last commission had a number of items that they did not, they recommended that would not, the Board of Selectmen would not put on the ballot because there were so many of them. So those things are still on the backlog of items to consider for the ballot. And I'm not sure of all those items, but there are quite a few. That's what I was referring to.
Okay, thank you. What, I'm sorry, didn't get your name, sir.
Dave Gauthier.
Dave Gauthier. Dave, I want to thank you for your thoughtful input, really good stuff. Thank you. Thank you.
One more question, if I may. You mentioned that there were a number of open positions or jobs that can't be filled currently today. Do you have offhand a couple of examples of those positions? I'm just not aware.
I was gonna look at the items, so we have a library director. I believe we have maybe, I'm not sure if we still have a part-time fire department, but if you go look on the website, I'll look at it while I'm not talking and tell you, there's like 6 or 7 or jobs on there that are open, that seem to have been open for quite a while.
Is there anyone else like to say anything? Anybody on Zoom?
Oh, I think.
Oh,
Yes, Jim Irwin, 58 Marlborough Drive. First of all, I want to agree with a lot of what Dave said. I think that my classic response is going to be very brief. It doesn't seem to be broken to me. I don't know why we're replacing people that are in these positions doing a good job. And I don't see anything that needs to be repaired. And I also agree that having these people who we vote for, and they're our friends and neighbors in town, I think that that gives me a sense of them being one of us and not some person who is hired into that job who may not even live in town and not have any skin in the game. But that's my comment.
Can I have? Hi, Sandra Janik, and I also agree with everything Mr. Irwin and Mr. Gauthier said. And I also have not heard any compelling reason to change anything. And from my perspective, given how long people have been in these positions, I think that speaks for what the community says. They've had a chance to change anything they don't like. We as a community have had that opportunity, and we've chosen not to change anything. So I agree. I don't see why we need to fix anything that's not broken, especially when I haven't heard, in my humble opinion, I haven't heard anything that's going to add any value, so to speak. Thank you for your time and I do thank you all for your work. And just let me just be really catty here for just a second, please, if I may. The next time we form a commission, it would be, for something as important as a town commission, it would be lovely to see a female sitting up there among you. It really would. Because right now I'm sitting over here, I'll be honest, I'm feeling like I'm in patriarch America. I'm sorry. I just had to throw that out there for general, and I'm sure that wasn't your intent. I do believe that was not the intent, but I'm just saying.
thank you. Luckily for you, our ex officio member is a female. She was just sitting behind you, that's all. Anyway, so.
Yes, Kathy, I do appreciate everything that you do as well as the liaison. But I believe, are you a non-voting member or do you vote? Okay, thank you. I should probably clarify my statement, and I would appreciate seeing a voting female up there among you. And Kathy, I appreciate all the work you do as well. Thank you. May I pass this to whomever?
Ms. Henry, I see you raising your hand. we'll unmute you.
Thank you. First of all, again, I want to thank you for all your hard work on this. I know it's must feel somewhat thankless, and some of us really do appreciate all your efforts, so thank you for that. Again, Robin Henry, 12 Pheasant Lane. As I said last time, I really feel that we need to look at the town as a whole, not as pieces. I think we have people in positions here, and I know other people have said this, that know their jobs, they're doing them well. There's nothing in that regard to fix. I think that if we start to look at a larger plan for the government, you know, perhaps it's a town council or whatever that might be, that would then be the time to look at the other positions, not to do pieces here and pieces there. So my preference would be to leave things as they are. We've got people in the positions that everybody in town knows. They're doing a fantastic job. I see no reason to take that away and bring in people that we don't know even. I think that things are good. My recommendation would be to leave it as for now, and then at some point in the future, look at a larger plan.
Thank you. All right, is there anyone else? All right, if I don't see anyone else, I will close the public hearing and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
So you wait to sign.
Yeah.
Can I just need a recording on?
I would-
Progress.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the June 27th, 2024 special meeting of the Charter Revision Commission. First, Selectman Colin Mullen to call this meeting to order. To the first item, which is approval of the minutes from the May 23rd, 2024 special meeting. You guys have an opportunity to take a look at that. Any comments?
I'll make a motion that we accept approve the minutes from the May 23rd, 2024 special meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
I do want to note real quick that Rick DuBois is absent from tonight's meeting. He is still a member of this
We
commission.
can't hear back here.
I just want to point out that Rick DuBois is absent from tonight's meeting. He's still part of the commission. All right, can you guys hear me online?
That's fine.
All right, sorry about that. All right, so motion has been made and seconded. Is there any comments? All right, hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? I'll abstain. All right, hearing none, the motion carries with one abstention. Item number 3 is approval of the minutes from the June 6th, 2024 public hearing.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the June 6th, 2024 public hearing.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. Is there any comments? All right, hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, I'll abstain. Motion carries 4-0, one abstention. Item number 4 is approval of the minutes from the June 6th, 2024 meeting.
Seconded?
Oh, you did. Motion.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve?
Is that a motion?
I'll make a motion that
Alright.
we approve the minutes of the June 6th, 2024 meeting.
Now a second.
Now we have a second. All right. Motion's been made and seconded. Are there any comments? All right, hearing none, call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All abstained. All right, motion carries 4-0, one abstention. Item number 5 is public comment. Is there any public comment in the room? Mr. Fernandez?
Where are your microphones?
Of course.
Just remember at the read button.
Hello, Tom Frenaye, 489 Watertown Road. A question on your last 3 votes. You said the vote was for approval, 4 approved, 0 opposed, and 1 abstention. Who was the abstention?
I was going to abstain because I wasn't there.
But you don't get to vote either, right?
Oh, that's true, yeah. Okay.
So it should be just 4-0.
4-0, yeah. Thank you for that.
Thank you, appreciate it. Anything else?
All right, any other comments? All right, anyone on Zoom? All right, seeing none, we'll move to item 6, which is election of new officers. So I think we need a chair and a vice chair. And have you guys been able to give this any thought?
So I'd like to make a motion that Eric Remington, I'll nominate him for chairman.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Eric, do you accept being the chairman?
Well, if I'm going to be in that role, yes.
If elected, I will serve.
All right, hearing no comments, I'll call the vote. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. We have a vice chair, anyone interested in vice chair?
I'll make a motion that Ray Apple be the, sorry, I screwed up your name. Nominated as vice chairman.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Just a quick point of order. Eric, now that you're elected chair, you should take over the meeting and call that vote.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
And you can second.
Okay. So can we,
Yeah,
the
just.
motion and second are okay? We have a motion and a second, I think, right?
You seconded it.
I did, okay,
Yep.
yeah. Okay.
I would
Any-
get us another second.
What's that?
I would just get another second.
Okay.
to see
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, congratulations, Ray.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks. All right, thank you, everybody. Are you gonna join us, Kat?
Yeah, I'm gonna join you now.
Okay.
Swap.
All right, so the next agenda item is the tax collector interview, and we have our existing, currently serving tax collector, long-serving tax collector, Jill Scheckman. We appreciate you being here, Jill. So this is kind of informal, but given that one of the things under consideration is changing the tax collector position from potentially from elected to appointed, we wanted to get your input and hear from you. I thought what might be helpful is if we just started out, maybe you could give us a little bit of your background, how long you've been in the role, that kind of thing, and then maybe you could educate us as to what's entailed, what's involved with the role, and then I'm sure we'll have questions and we can take it from there if that works for you.
Sure.
Okay.
My name is Jill Scheckman, and I've lived in Suffield my entire life except 1 year. Ray would know that. And I've been privileged to live here, grow up here. I come with an education that I majored in math, majored in English, and a minor in literature. I can hide all of those very well. I do enjoy math. More importantly, in 2009, I was doing some collection work, and I was approached to see if I would be interested in applying for the job for tax collector. And I was put up by the Republican Party, and the only thing that I was asked to do was to consider being certified. And I thought that was a great idea, and I think that's a very simple request. Other than living in the town, that was my only request on behalf of the Republican Town Committee. And so I agreed.
Can I, sorry to interrupt, but, so is certification a requirement of the job?
Not as an elected
Okay.
official, it
All
is
right.
not. But it was a promise, and I thought it was necessary in order to do the job correctly. Certification involves going to school for about 2.5 years. You have to take several classes, 4 classes and a final exam, and then you have to sit in your seat for 3 years before you become certified. And when I was there, when I was assigned to my job, I took the remainder 2-year term from Tina Lucia, And so I sat there and immediately I was like, wow, this is a lot to learn. I'm responsible for a lot of money. And at that point in time, I knew that I had to go to school immediately. So in September, I started the program and I finished it. And I've been very fortunate to work with Robin, who had been in the tax office for a very long time. She's currently there 25 years now. So she was there 10 years prior, and she gave me very good direction and told me how important it was to follow through and know what I was doing. And classes are just invaluable. And now what they've done too as a tax collector, in order to maintain my certification, you have to get at least 10 credit hours each year. And you do need to do that to get your 5 years certification. I'm currently certified through 28. So it's been a real privilege to be here and to work within the town and within the community. I will be seeing all of you, I'm sure, in the month of July. And I will be sending out letters to you as well. They will be mailed on Friday. But it's truly been a privilege to work here. And on a daily basis, we do lots of things, from answering the phone to working with customers, to downloading electronic files, to processing batch reports. They're done right at the computer in our office. I do more of the reporting. I report to finance. I balance to Munis. I collect on Julie's behalf for WPCA. I do liens. I do her lien. I sign for her liens, for lien releases. There's a lot of reporting that goes on all the time. I also not only report to municipal finance, but I balance for everyone, and everyone knows where we stand within 1 month, from online to all our deposits that we do at our desk to things that are deposited at People's Bank locally. So it's a lot of deposits. We keep a lot of very good records, and I've actually been asked, and I wasn't thrilled at the time through finance to actually scan my checks at my desk, because it's a very tedious process. It's not easy, but the cool thing is I have all the checks. They stay with me. So I have very, very good information in front of me at all times. More importantly, we changed from using a lockbox policy, which was we would grab all the mail that would come in July, and we would put it in a large envelope. We would have no idea what was inside it. We would pass it off to a courier who would come and take it, bring it to a facility, and it was later processed and downloaded at TD Bank. I thought it sounded like sort of an odd process, and so finally, what I decided to do is I took my last payment for a car tax and I put it in the last bag that was sent off for a lockbox. And we would go through the deposits, and I would find out that my check had not been cashed. And so I'd have to call, and there were 2 years in a row that I had to request, where was my check, where was the package? So at that point in time, I said, you know what, we have to wait for information. I have to find out why your check has been rejected. And I said, it's gonna be more work, but we're gonna do a better job. We'll save $1,000 in a courier, and I'll have checks there. I can take it and look at this immediately and answer anybody's questions, and our money is safe. So I've taken on more projects, but I think they've been very, very good. We've also taken on Invoice Cloud, which is how to process payments online. It's an option, because not everyone has to do it. There's fees that we don't have to pay as a town. People can elect to use their check, and they can pay anything in the tax collector side for 95 cents. They can also use a credit card or debit card if they need to, which some people have to, and they put on an additional 2.99%. Once again, an option, something that the town doesn't pay for. So we collect in a lot of fashions. We can help out a lot of people now, I think. So we've made great headway. I did want to bring in some information for you guys to take a look at. And what it is I have something that we focus on every year, and that would be current year taxes. And I collect over $46 million. So this is just the current year tax only, the page on top. And you can see that as of today, that we have a collection rate of 99.10. We still got a couple days left. I will be on Sunday just to make sure I get them all in. So that's what you're looking at. And this is what we do every year. Thank you. So just that you're familiar with what we collect and what we scan at this current moment in time. The second sheet, when you flip it over, these are the qualifications that I must meet according to finance. So they break down into different categories. They tell me that I need to collect the sheet that you're currently looking at, the top sheet. Why I've collected 99.1%, they've requested that I collect 98.5%. So that's the top number at the very top of Nina's budget. And then they project other amounts that they think I should collect throughout the year. Each year, we've exceeded those recommendations. They've gone up, and I think we've done very well this year. And then I
So,
thought,
I'm sorry, just, so, like, I mean, I think I understand this pretty well, but just for clarification
Sure.
for others, so, I mean, essentially, it's 40, the collectible taxes are the 45,594,000 on the first page, right?
the collectible, yes,
So that's the total universe that you could collect in the current year.
current year only, correct.
Right. And so you collect 99.1% of that.
Yes, as of today.
Right. So, you know, that's roughly 450,000 that you haven't collected in the current year, less than that. It'd be 0.9%, right?
Yes,
It's right in the right-hand column.
yes, uncollected to the far
Oh,
right.
yeah, okay. But you've collected 572,000 in prior year taxes, so you've collected more than a full year's of backlog in the
Yes.
current year. Okay, sorry.
So those are some of the things that, you know, that we do in our office, and that, this bookkeeping is something that I'm responsible for, no one else is. Then I just thought you might be interested in different things with the tax collector list. So as we come here tonight, we discuss whether or not it's a good idea to have elected tax collectors or appointed or hired, however you decide to approach this. I gave you a list, and this comes from OPM, and this is a list of elected versus appointed. And on, based on my calculations, I believe it's about 42% are currently elected.
42%?
42% are elected. I should also mention too, as far as schooling is concerned, right now, currently in the state of Connecticut, for tax collector certification, there's 303 people that are certified.
303.
Yeah, in the state. And then I thought you might want to see where I fall as opposed to other tax collectors in my tax collecting rate. And so the last page of the packet has that breakdown. So there's just things that you know, you may not want to look at now, you may want to look at down the road and see, you can even compare lists between elected and those that are not and see how the towns perform.
Is that something you, oh, that's in here.
It's the last page, Eric. But I mean, I think some of the information is, it's, you know, it's up to date, and you know, I find it fascinating.
Jill, if I could ask a question.
Yes.
So you mentioned the certification. So I'm guessing that perhaps not all tax collectors are certified.
That's a possibility.
Right.
It's not a requirement.
Is there an additional level of certification or something else that some town tax collectors have above and beyond?
This is it. This is
This
it
is
for
it.
tax collecting,
Okay.
yes.
Good, thank you.
Yes.
Could I get the name of the certification? Sorry, I know we're talking about it. I'm familiar with like a CPA, but I'm not
It's the
familiar.
CCMC. That's what it is.
Thank you.
Sure.
So if we look at it's the rate book, I guess, if you look at the portion of taxes that goes uncollected in the current year, like 39% of that is motor vehicles. Maybe you could talk about the tools you have. You've got more tools to collect on real estate than you do on motor
We
vehicles,
do.
right?
It's, we begin by leaning We can further that by doing other forms of collection, whether it's tax sales. We can sell tax liens, that's an option, and we can also collect books. When it comes to motor vehicles, the only way that we can really enforce it is we can turn around and block them at DMV. And so for them to want to register any car, because when we block someone at DMV, what we do is we block the name. So if you have a car and you haven't paid your taxes and your wife hasn't paid her taxes and you share a registration, I can't just give you a clearance unless you decide you're going to pay for your wife as well. So.
But you have to
multiple
wait
things.
until somebody's registration is due before you
Usually,
have that
that's,
tool,
that's why we stay in the office and we keep the hours that we do, because I have people that will come in and say, I gotta go to DMV, so now I'm gonna pay my taxes. You know, they get the delinquent notices, they get the demands, but until that registration needs to be renewed, or they get pulled over, they may choose to ignore me. The other thing that we've done too is we put them on, we have a collection agency, and so if I have a bad address, if I'm repeatedly ignored, we send it off to the collection agency and they get 15% on top of their bill. So at one point, people are gonna figure out that it's gonna be a lot easier to either pay the bill in full or make partial payments.
right? But for real estate, you can put a lien on the property.
We do every
Where
year.
motor vehicles, you don't have the
We
right to
don't.
put a lien
I
on the
can
vehicle.
only block them.
Right. So somebody, if they move out of state and never want to register a vehicle again, you don't have any enforcement mechanism other than a collection.
We do
agency.
have some states that will turn around and they will support us, and they
Okay.
will not allow that. To be honest with you, you'd be surprised, there are a few people that cannot wait to say, see you later, I'm never paying the bill, and off we go. And they do end up coming back to Connecticut reluctantly, and they will have to pay multiple fees, interest, fees, and tax. And I've seen that happen.
Right. So, I mean, this year, you've collected $427,000 in interest and fees. If you look at the second page,
Oh, okay, this is, and that is,
which is more than the uncollected tax amount,
yes,
because we get paid handsomely to wait.
we absolutely do. We get very good interest. That's one of the reasons that, to be honest with you, I don't see the reason to rush, because we collect all of this on this second sheet based on people being delinquent. And we gleaned our property so that we are in position to collect when need be. But we collect a lot of money in prior year tax, interest, liens, and fees.
Well, I mean, think about it another way, if you collected 100%, we'd have a $600,000 hole in the budget.
For sure,
Yeah. Because we wouldn't have that prior year's in.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I just have a comment.
Yes.
Mrs. Scheckman, can I address you as Jill?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Jill. Thanks for putting this together. It's very good
It's my
stuff.
pleasure. I think it's interesting for you to actually see the numbers as they come from OPM versus something that I would just formally tell you what they are. You've got
Um,
both.
So I have a question about, so 42% are elected, 58% are appointed.
Yes.
But we don't know appointed, meaning if the person is hired.
I don't know that, usually they refer to them as appointed. I don't believe you're gonna see that as distinguished from hired.
Right. So we don't know whether this appointed means it's appointed by one person, like the town manager or the first selectman unilaterally, and we don't know whether it's, the person is hired by a certain body within the town.
We do not.
Right, okay.
So Jill, I want to thank you for wearing the badge of tax collector. We often talk about thankless jobs. I'm sure this is probably close to the top of the list.
I have to be honest with you, I love my job, and I have, unfortunately, a lot of you know that I have like way too much fun in my office, because I think that's the way it should be.
Yep, and that was kind of gonna lead into my question,
Yes.
which is, so you mentioned you're coming in on Sunday, you mentioned the hours that you and your staff keep. You live in the community, and clearly you have a passion for the job and you have a passion for the community. And I guess that's kind of my question, is some of these extras and things like that that you're doing to support the community, can you maybe elaborate on that? Or, and to be clear, I will be open in candor, is when I'm thinking about, would we get that same level of passion and
Exactly.
dedication from a hired position versus somebody who's elected into the position yourself?
Well, I appreciate your kind words. To be honest with you, I love my job. I absolutely love my job. And I know that the time period that I have to put in July, that's a given, and you're there. And to be honest with you, you people expect that check cashed, because I have people that do not want to look at their bank account, but they will call the tax collector. So if I post everything, they can look at online. We've got our money quickly, they've got their answers quickly, and I pride myself in that. And if I just do the extra work that I need on a weekend to get it right, to make you happy, that's what I'm here for. I do not answer to anybody in the town hall. I answer to all of you. And in all honesty, if I do not, I know this is very important for me to bring this money in, and as a hired or appointed person, you would require that of me. I have to answer and look at each and every one of you. And my job is to give you customer service. And if I don't give that to you, I'm not gonna be in my job, because you can look for someone else. So if I give you attitude, if I am carefree, I don't value you, you're not gonna value me. Problem is, I actually enjoy all of you. And I have a 6-minute ride to work. I'm there all the time. I love my job. I love it when people ask me for things. I'm a team player. I pride myself in trying to do the best I can for the entire community, for
So-
everybody.
A follow-up question. With you living in town, do you have much interaction with folks relative to your tax collection role?
I take a lot of money from my brother.
That's not quite what I meant.
No, I actually, I'm not sure exactly what your
So,
question is on that.
with
What
you
was
living
that?
in town, right, you're going to the market, you're going to CVS, whatever, you're
Oh, right.
seeing everybody that you know in town, right? But is there any of those interactions or periodic interactions that involve your, are they asking you a question about your role as a tax collector, something about that, your job or what have
I
you?
get a lot of questions from a lot of people, and they'll ask me what's going on, or different plans. The thing that I do is I'm an advocate for a lot of people. If I'll see them, I go, please don't struggle. This is the bill that I'd like you to try to pay for first. This is gonna affect you first and foremost, so I want you to address this. And I'll inform them, please make partial payments. This is going to save you. I don't have to do that. And I will tell them, please make sure if you're gonna make a payment, you're gonna make it by the 30th, not the 1st, because interest is gonna change. You're the one that's gonna lose out, not me. So I'm there to guide people. I collect money, but I care. If I can make a difference, I will.
So it's a benefit to the community having you as the tax collector living in town.
Absolutely.
Good.
It just, like another, I think it's an important point to make, is that the parameters that you operate under are dictated by statute, that
Oh,
you have
yes.
no ability to waive a penalty or interest payment or anything like that.
There is a statute, it's even changed. There, if we, meaning the assessor and I make a mistake, we can agree. It's very, very seldom used, and now it's actually changed. Before, what we used to do is we could actually, Lisa, our assessor, and I could agree, and then we would have to report it to Colin. That has changed. This has to go off and be approved by the board. So we don't even have, we are very, very limited, and I think this is one of the hardest things that I've learned in life, and it's probably one of the most beneficial, and it's through tax collecting, is that what you do for one, you do for all. And I even mean that right down to service. You treat everybody with respect. If they owe you money, they owe you money. I don't care if their mom died, they were in the hospital, my condolences, is there anything else I can do? But I can't change that bill.
So you have no discretion. If somebody's a day late, you have to charge
It doesn't matter
penalties
if
and
it's my
interest.
brother, my mother I fear, but I would have to, I would have to
So
charge.
there's very little subjectivity to,
Right.
Right.
But there isn't, there is no room. If the rules are the rules, and to be honest, I live in town, I prefer not to have my picture in the paper or not following rules. I mean, it's that, I shouldn't have my job if I don't follow the rules.
so I want to follow the question. Hopefully, you have thought about this. What are your personal feelings? Have you gone through kind of in your mind the pros and cons about being elected versus a hired employee? I know, I mean, the last election, we had 13,000 something people in town. I think you received 15,000 votes. But how do you feel about it?
Well, to be honest with you, I've always been told that my position has power. And I believe it has power, but more importantly, I have a voice. The only people that have a voice are those that are elected. And it's hard for me to speak up. That is my job. I have done it in the past. I have argued in the past. I argue presently. But that's my right. I don't do it to argue. I will do it because it's the right thing to say, the right thing to do for the community. And I feel bad because if I was appointed, I would go to work, I would do my job. I would be, I think, more cautious as far as like, I mean, right now, a few years ago, we had somebody that had a dairy abatement and her dad was sick. And so she was struggling, and I said to myself, well, I'm just gonna hop in the car on hours, right? Go out, get this signed and bring it back. I'm not so sure I would be as comfortable doing that if I had somebody that I had to answer to, whereas Jill, she's supposed to be in here. I don't abuse my time and my privilege as far as, I was told I don't even have to be in the office as long as my job gets done. That's never been my philosophy. I'm always there except for lunch. I believe that I should be guided by the same rules as the people that sit in there that are there every day, whether they're part of the union or they're directors. I believe we should have the same hours. I believe, and that's the way I work. I also would tell you that I think we can all work really hard and fear the worst with someone being elected. I think we can fear the worst with someone that's hired. I've seen things go south. I've seen things that you can't imagine happen, and we've had lawsuits. And I just, I think we worry a lot about the what ifs. I've been there since 2009, and I think everything is done smoothly. I think we move forward. Anybody can reach out to me, ask me anything. I think we're open, we're transparent, and I don't think there's been anything to worry about. I can't guarantee down the road what you'll get. I wouldn't think that you would assume if you do the right hiring and you have someone in town again for looking at another elected position, I would think if you did your work, you live with these people, you're gonna make a judgment call. And I don't think it's as difficult as we think, that, we always fear the worst, what if? Look at what's happened. We've got a good collection rate, we've got a good team. You don't have turnover. My office has stayed the same.
Just one follow-up question. You've been there how many years now?
Since 2009.
2009. So you've been through a few administrations
I have.
of town government. Either whatever side, Republican, Democrat, Independent, have you experienced any change in treatment or variance in treatment?
I've had difficulties, I absolutely have. I had one first selectman that said that they were going to take I had 2 part-time people, and they said that they were gonna take one away from me, it wasn't needed. And so, HR came down and approached me and said, we don't see the need for this person. And I said, you're asking me to collect 40-some odd $1 million. And so I said, well, she can do what she wants to do. And so we left it at that. And she goes, what do you mean, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm gonna do what it takes because this is my office and we're gonna get service. I want your checks cashed. I want things done correctly. It's not an option for me. And that did not go over well. We had an agreement. And it was hard to hold my own, but it's very important to speak up for the office. It's not for me. If my office doesn't function, you guys are not gonna be happy. And, you know, currently we have issues that we're working on as well, and I have to speak my mind because I can. It's not out of power, but it's out of commitment. This is my community.
So in that particular, just to follow up, in that particular scenario, would you think it was more beneficial to you in that particular issue to be an elected official versus an
I
appointed
wouldn't have
official?
spoke up because I wouldn't have had a job. I would be told, you know, you either take it or you leave it. And also too, what happens with the raise? If I turn around and I speak my mind, that's where you can punish me, you can write me up. I mean, I think it's really hard to stand your ground for what you believe in, that's correct for all, if I am under someone's thumb.
Great, great information. This is exactly what I wanted to ask you about, so I appreciate your input.
Thank you.
Very good.
Yeah, I have another question. You said something that kind of perked my ears up, and you talked about your interaction and kind of, it sounded to me, and I'd like some clarification here in
Sure.
terms of your interactions with the town assessor, because as I recall, town assessor is also one of the other positions. No?
No.
No, okay.
Assessor's appointed,
Oh, okay,
but they share an office.
gotcha.
And to be honest with you, we are very, very fortunate. We all take care of one another.
Yeah.
It's, we have a great floor.
So, yeah, so that kind of leads me to, you started off by saying that you interact with finance. Obviously, you interact with Colin as well.
Yes.
Any other departments that you spend any meaningful time interacting with?
To be honest with you, my focus is finance. We've tried to rectify other things in the town as far as setups with homeowners associations. And so we will work with Colin, we'll work with Bill and with Lisa. And it's been a slow process, to be honest with you. It's actually frustrating for me. But finance is my number one, and they need to know what we have in. I've tried to stay very close with them, especially, we'll be getting in some serious money. We have a new finance director, and I told her, I said, they've actually merged CoreLogic, which is a very large tax service, and they've merged it with Wells Fargo. So now you've got two large ones together. So I reached out to our new director earlier, and I said, listen, we're gonna have to up our daily allowance because I won't be able to make this deposit, because it's gonna be very large. And so she's like, thanks, Jill, I really appreciate it. Now she's got plenty of time, but I think we work as a team. You know, that's how everything functions.
Good.
But finance, we stay very close.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, finance is very, very good. I'm lucky to work with Marie, and Marie Bork is just fabulous. She keeps excellent records, and we do very, very well, very well. And that's the important part, reporting and understanding.
Yeah, and I can vouch for that. I'm having spent a year and a half as Director of Finance. You know, Jill's office is always, you know, dead on. There was never any kind of issue. Everything balances to the penny. And, you know, and I think that's as a result of her conscientiousness that, you know, she doesn't go home until she's balanced at the end of the day. And, you know, I know at one point we were looking at the fact that, you know, because of various issues with, you know, the way finance was operated in the treasurer's office, that, you know, the way that we collect deposited cash, the accounts it went into made absolutely no sense. And Jill was a great partner in consolidating all that. And, you know, we're at the point now where the day the cash comes in the door, it is invested in an interest-bearing account at the state treasurer's office, to the point that, you know, I think our interest income in the last year is, it went from $100,000 a year 2 years ago to $1.8 million this year. And that's, you know, largely because Jill was a great
Oh,
partner.
I won't take the credit. I report. You do the work. I just report.
But, you know.
But
when-
it's important. You need it, and you need it right away.
Right.
And that's what you should have.
But it, you know, I mean, it was just teamwork that allowed it to happen, and not everybody would have been as cooperative as Jill was to say, you know, I'm perfectly fine changing the bank accounts and the way that the cash flows. So, you know, that's an example where it's a direct benefit to the taxpayer.
I'm not asking you as a question, but I thought it whole. You mentioned the WPCA real quick, and just so, can you elaborate on that? Because I don't know that everyone on the board necessarily appreciates that extra duty.
So what I do is I collect for the Water Pollution Control Authority as far as sewer payments are
Sewer
concerned.
use tax.
And so when they come in, I download the files. And so that would be for the general WPCA in Kent Farms, which is a small little separate entity all of its own that has a different price that they pay. So I collect on Julie's behalf. She sets up the bills, she mails them out. We process all payments. I do all the reporting. And I also, she brings in deposits for me, and I log them and bring them to the bank as a, sort of like an auditing purpose, to be honest with you, is the money is saved that way. She drops it off, I deposit it, we all get copies. We also are very proactive on the phone when people call up and they'll go, what do they owe for real estate taxes? And we will always support her and say, well, we not only have real estate taxes, but I do have an outstanding sewer bill, which, you know, it is a little bit above and beyond. I don't have to do that, but I feel as a team player and, you know, the whole town benefits, so that's what we do.
And just to add, that's not in the tax collector's job description or contemplated under the charter that was done. That was something that I think we put in place, and Tom could probably tell me, early 2000s that the tax collector's office took it on.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
but it used to be done separately, and so not only did that get consolidated with the office, Jill's office has continued to do that and do it very well.
So it's part of the formal job responsibility now. It is not.
It is not.
So whose is it now? Is it under the WPCA?
Yeah.
You're billing them for your time.
We're not.
But I just think it's very important to understand
Yeah, it
that
is.
point, that there's more going on that even she's taking credit for, so.
So is that something that could potentially be a change we should look at as part of the charter revision? Or would-
I think it's something that should be appreciated. I don't know that necessarily it would change anything.
But it doesn't, should it be codified?
In my opinion, everything should be codified, so.
Just a note, Derek couldn't be heard by the online people.
That's how I drew it up.
Oh, okay.
I'll be better, I'll grab my things.
Okay. Well, just for clarification, that was Derek Donnelly, the town attorney. And he was just sharing with us that the fact that the tax collector collects payments for the WPCA is not something that is formally part of the requirements of the tax collector role. So, thank you, Derek. Was there anything else you wanted to share that you didn't get a chance to share, Jill?
No, I think it's really important for you to understand that it's nice that you allow me to have a voice and to have it for everybody, because that's what I represent, is everybody. I live here, I've always lived here. To be honest, to be able to work with people, I have people that just will pop in. And I mean, and in all honesty too, is what you don't understand is, I have people that will leave town, and they want to know what their car taxes are and different things. And because they've left town, they're no less important to me. They get the same services anyway that still stays here, because I appreciate the fact that they lived in Suffield. I try to go above and beyond. I have people that come and they'll beg me to come out of my office at tax time, you know. And, you know, I should share too that, I mean, I live here, but one of the things that we did end up with my position is we have a full-time assistant who's been there with me. And I also have a wonderful assistant, seasonal help, I'm called, Savior is more what I would call her. And that's Paige Remington. She's been with us now, and we look forward to having her. But I would like you to understand that when we have people that are from town, our whole town lights up. I'm taking thousands of dollars from you, thousands of dollars for you at counter. And I'll have somebody that will come in and go, I know you. I know you. Who are you? And I said, she's a Remington. And they light up. It's important when we have community that works within the community. It makes a difference. You're giving away lots of money, and people feel at home when they come to the office. do a lot in the tax office. I have a lot of people that will sit and cry in my office and go through things. I had a woman that came in today, she goes, I just want to let you know that my mom passed you. And she's been paying her, coming in and doing partial payments. And I said, well, come in my office and sit. And I think because I am elected, I can sit and do that with her. And she said, thanks for listening to me. She's gonna get a new job. But I mean, I care. I see her, I watch her struggle. And so for me, it's a privilege. Would somebody be thrilled that I invited somebody into my office and sat and talked about the loss of their mother if I was hired? I don't know. But that's why you give me the privilege and you've allowed me to do this since 2009. So I thank you for allowing me to do the job that I do.
Thank you.
I just had a follow-up question. You had touched on it a little bit. I just wanted to know exactly what staff do you have? Like, how many people do you have?
I have one full-time person,
And then the one seasonal.
one seasonal, and I would not survive that season without them.
And so the full-time,
We collect $26 million in July, $26 million.
so the full-time employee is a town employee.
Yes, she is. She's union.
So have you ever encountered, I guess, any issues in terms of if, any HR issues? Because that person reports to you and duly to the first selectman, or?
Oh, no, she was my responsibility. She's my office. I manage her. And she's union, so she follows her union rules. We had an opportunity to change our hours. Colin had said that we could change and do a 4-day, 3-day. And I wasn't for that because I do believe that our office one is used to normal hours, and I would totally upset her. And she's worked with me forever, that I feel it's first and foremost is most important to the town that we have consistent hours. And then she's used to this, that I was not gonna upset the apple cart. It works.
And so with the different administrations, have you been able to, work with them? Like, how is it working if there are any issues like that arise with employees, with hours, or any issues?
Oh, to be honest with you, I value her. I've been tremendously for her because she supported me from day one. I would have been very nervous as I started. She pushed me from day one to go, she goes, you just need to go to school. You have to go to school. You need to know what you're doing. And she supported me all along the way. She knows the tax office. She's not as proficient in my reports, without a doubt, but she does a very large part of the office work. There's no doubt about it. And I am grateful to her for that.
Maybe I'm gonna rephrase, so.
Okay.
I guess how, if you could explain to me, like, the dealings that you've had with the town administration in terms of, like, because that person reports to you.
Yes.
Do you write their performance appraisals?
No.
Okay, so does Colin or HR write their performance appraisals?
The only ones that I know that do a performance is I have to do my own, and I do it with Colin.
Okay.
But there aren't, as far as I know, for anybody that's in the union, they either do their job or they don't.
So if she wants time off, she asks you?
She asked me, and to be honest with you, she's never been denied. The only rule I have is July. You do not do that.
And so you don't have any conflicts with the town in terms of running your office and running your stuff?
I have. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't like my office hours being cut. There's a lot of pressure, because if I had 2 part-time people and I had to give one up, then my sacrifice was I threw back and said, I'll tell you what, I'll take a 19-hour person so that we don't have to pay out benefits. Well, I had a 19-hour person that I could not take coming in for 19 hours a week, and I don't blame her. So that's when I finally said, I cannot spend my time training people and then paying for education and they leave. That's a waste to the town, it's a waste to me. So we decided that we would do it this way. I'm not gonna tell you it's easy, because I think we do a lot for 2 people in that office, to be honest with you.
And so then the final solution was to have the one full-time person?
Yes,
work with you.
and she was very reluctant to do that.
Okay.
And we used HR to go over that, and she eventually saw that it's a good idea for her pension, that this would be a good opportunity for her. She's slow to change, to be honest with you, but she's stepped up, we do it, and it works. And, I mean, we're always honest and open about what we do, and I do let her have time off as she needs it. I mean, she's asked for time this week, she says, my dog, has to, I'm like, of course, you know what I mean? What are we gonna do? I said, I'm just, please don't die in July. keep your dogs healthy in July. And I'm flexible because I appreciate the work that she does.
So the only other point I wanted to make is not necessarily to you, is kind of in terms of public comment that we had. I don't know if you had heard it. You know, my understanding is that if we were to ever suggest, or at least write up in a report, if the commission was to the Board of Selectmen that they consider these positions be appointed, my understanding is it would be written to the charter that whomever is already in that position, currently serving, would be the person that would automatically transfer in. I don't believe anybody would be losing their jobs, is at least my understanding of it, and that other towns have done it that way. At least that would be the goal. I don't believe any one of us is looking, by making any recommendations, to have anyone lose their positions that they currently have.
Thank you.
Just wanted to
Thank you
state
for that, I do
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
Just one point of clarification. I mean, your employee works for you, but you're administering the union contract and the town's personnel policies
Oh,
as it
absolutely.
relates to her. You're not
Oh, no,
making
she
up your
follows
own
the rules just
Yeah.
like we do in tax.
Right.
You know, we've got a set of rules that she has to follow, she reports. I'm just flexible.
Right.
I mean, she takes vacation when it's not ideal for me in August, and I say, you know what, as long as we can get, and this is all I say, as long as we can get the real estate bills out, you're good to go. And if that means she's gotta do whatever it takes, that's what we do, because work comes first.
Right. Okay. Anybody have any additional questions for Jill?
I really appreciate all your time.
We appreciate
Appreciate
you
you
coming
coming
in,
in,
Jill.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Jill. It's
I
very
love my
helpful.
job, you know.
I think she loves her job.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, you know, though, it is a
It's good.
privilege to drive 6 minutes in and see people inside and outside, and I know, a lot of you know that I brutalize many people. You're a taxpayer, or a director, but I think it's our job to have fun, and I think you provide me that situation right now, being elected. I'm not so sure how much fun I could have if I wasn't. But thank you for your time and your efforts.
Thanks for
Thank
coming
you, Jill.
tonight.
It's been a pleasure, thank you. Good luck with your decision, I know it's a very difficult one.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you for all you do for the town.
Thank you, thanks for giving me that opportunity. Take care, guys.
Thanks. So we don't have an agenda item for any discussion, so I think we'll have to follow up on what we heard tonight, future meeting. Okay.
So, question, can we add, are we able to add to the agenda now an item?
No?
Not tonight, because it's a special meeting,
Okay.
but at a future regular meeting, you could.
Yeah, so one item that I think we should consider adding is perhaps making changes to the schedule of our meetings.
Okay.
And the reason I bring that up is, you know, after this one, I think we only have 3 scheduled meetings left before the August 21st. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, the public hearing is on August 8th. That's our last regular meeting, and I'm wondering if we might need another week or 2 or 3 to consider. So we can always cancel at some point, right? If we do it in enough time.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're kind of onto agenda item 8, right?
We are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
discussion of future schedule for meetings, so.
Well, I took that to be the other 2
Well,
elected.
I think it's all the same, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
So, I mean, I think that's, you know, you could certainly add more time. I think particularly if after tonight you want another opportunity to talk to the tax collector, or you want an opportunity to talk to a tax collector who is not from Suffield. One of the things the last Charter Revision Commission did was get people who were town managers, right? They talked to former first selectmen. In considering the town manager question, they also talked to people who were town managers in other towns and had them come in. So you have broad power to get the people in front of you to answer the questions that you think are going to help you make important decisions. So if that requires more time, you know, or, you know, additional scheduling, then, you know, you guys do what you need to do in order to get there. Once again, the important part is that you have a date you have to report to the Board of Selectmen. You can report to the Board of Selectmen and say, we couldn't get, we didn't have enough time to make a decision. You just have to report, right? So whatever, wherever you are at the time, that's what you report.
So, I mean, I understand that we have to report, and if we're not, you know, if we're not in a position that we can make a recommendation at that point, you know, we'll be where we are, but what is the absolute date that we need to be done in order for it to get on the ballot in November?
Yeah, I will get you a firm date from the registrar. I believe roughly it's around the 10th to 15th of September. And I apologize, but I have that on my dead iPad in the car, so.
No, I recall that as well.
Yeah, but it's somewhere right in that wheelhouse.
Okay, so we should have an agenda item at the next meeting to talk about the calendar, I would say. Yeah, I mean, even though we've got a limited charge, I mean, it does seem like, at this point, a very aggressive timeline to me.
Right. And again, the charge is the charge. You do not have to follow the charge, you do not have to, you know, the Board of Selectmen in the charge tells you what it would like you to consider. Once you are established, you do what you want.
Right. Okay. So I guess following on that, that topic, so we've got the town clerk and the treasurer position that we need to schedule, and I can reach out to both of those current office holders to see if one of them is available at the next, our next scheduled meeting, which I think is
July 11th.
Yeah, 2 weeks from tonight, yeah.
There may have been dates already worked out with
Oh, were
Mr.
there?
DeBoer.
Oh, okay.
Let me just take a quick look. The previous emails to see.
So, there's a schedule for all three.
Yeah.
Very slow.
I mean, while she's doing that, I mean, I was also, I mean, I'm not sure that at least former town clerks or tax collectors in town, that there are any around.
So I have here, my notes show that on July 11th,
Casey's
Casey
not.
Colston had originally agreed to come, and that we were still looking for a date with Kathy Dunai.
Okay, so I'll follow up with Kathy. And so we've got Casey for our next meeting.
Maybe we could just confirm.
Yeah, I'll confirm with her.
Casey,
And,
for the 27th?
For the 11th.
Oh, for the
July
July
11th.
For the
Yeah.
11th, right.
And, I mean, it also struck me that there are several former treasurers that are still around, that it wouldn't be a bad idea to invite them, to solicit their thoughts. And I think at some point, you know, I'd like to hear from Colin, have him expand more on his thoughts on the charge that we were provided, and, you know, his thought process on making the recommendation. You know, we could also reach out to former first selectmen that have some institutional knowledge as well. So if you're okay with that, I can make those outreaches.
Yeah, I think that'll be
Yeah.
helpful.
Okay.
I think it would be great to reach out to Melissa Mack.
Sure.
I think that would be helpful.
Okay.
So if we decided to add meetings, and I'll use July 18th as an example, how much lead time do we need in order to approve that? Can we do it the week, in other words, could we do it at the next meeting and add the July 18th?
Yeah, the chair can always call a meeting at the chair's discretion, provided that it's a special meeting agenda is submitted to the town clerk at least 24 hours in advance and posted to the town website. So there's broad discretion for the chair to add additional meetings if needed. You know, I do think for the benefit of the public, if you are gonna add a
More
bunch of
time is
additional
better.
meetings, it's probably a good idea to talk about it at the next meeting and come up with a plan that people at least know about. It's nice to see people here and following along with process. So, I think you'll see more and more of that, so.
Yeah, I would agree, in the spirit of transparency and openness, I think, if we're gonna schedule a meeting, we need to let everybody know, and not just spring it on people. So, with that said, should we consider adding a meeting on July 18th?
I would say so.
I would think it'd be helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. That doesn't conflict with anybody's vacation plans? Okay, all right, then I'll get that posted. Okay. Anything else regarding that before we entertain a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Derek.
You're welcome.
There.
I can't be there July 18th, but
Okay.
nobody can go.
We do
The
care.
August 8th, I won't be here, but I can attend virtually.
Oh, you're done?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be virtual, it's just